Good morning, guys, and welcome to the day. Welcome to Kentucky. It's a beautiful fall morning. It's about 9:20 in the morning. Check out the fall, check out the weather. See some of the leaves starting to change color. Other areas like red tree right over there. There's leaves falling everywhere. And actually, if I go out in a little while, there's a couple of houses down the road where they've got the maple trees that drop these gigantic leaves, and there are just thousands of them. There's piles and piles of them. Maybe show you a little bit of that, some of the scenery and whatnot. But anyway, as I was saying, 9 something in the morning, Christina and the kids got out the door at their regular time this morning, so I've been hanging out, watching some videos, having breakfast and getting ready and whatnot. Not shaving, because we are still doing No Shave November, of course. And in some good news that you're not going to care about much, but I blather a lot, so that's what I'm going to do. Got the email from my work this morning. The 2017 benefits election is about to happen, meaning I'm about to be able to enroll for new insurance coming up in the next year. Got a bunch of decisions to make with that, so I sent all the info over to Christina. I've actually got a meeting this morning after my normal morning meeting to go over all of those benefits and figure out which ones we actually need and want, and there's a bug on the camera. My camera. So hopefully that'll be useful. Hopefully we won't be paying too much more or too much less for too much. It looks like the plans from this year, it's just very, very minor changes, and the prices are actually pretty similar for the offerings, so we may stick with what we already have. We may go with something different that has different, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Good stuff moving forward. We are very, very fortunate that both Christina and myself have jobs that offer very decent insurance policies. So that is actually a large part of the reason why I would never be able to be a full-time YouTuber. There are a lot of people that have asked, why aren't you doing this full-time? Do you have a full-time job for what's the reasoning and everything? And insurance is like the number one there. Okay, the number one is actually the money, because I make an awful lot more at my day job, and Christina does at hers, than I could ever make at YouTube. Even with all the affiliate stuff, with Amazon stuff and whatever else. Day jobs, no. There's no way it'd ever hold a candle to it unless somehow I got into the tens of millions of subscribers. Actually, I don't know. I'd have to look at the numbers again, but if we were in the several hundreds of thousands of subscribers, it might be sustainable, but even then, it'd be very difficult, and we wouldn't have any insurance without going through and paying an awful lot of money for it. We'll just put it that way. Anyway, I'm going on and on about stuff that you guys probably don't care about. It's been a beautiful morning so far. Definitely enjoying it. I'm actually about to head inside and hop on the treadmill because I've got to get some steps, got to get this day started right. Well, that was a bit of a headache. We'll just put it bluntly there. But at least it's over at this point. Finished up the meeting about all the health insurance stuff, and the good news is it's not really changing all that much this year. The bad news is it still really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Christina had a bunch of questions about it, so she was on Hangout sending me messages the whole time I was in the meeting. It's an online meeting, so it's not like I was sitting with a bunch of people and I was just listening to them talk. But sending me questions about, well, how does this work and how much is this going to be, and how, it's like, I don't know. So I asked as many questions as I could, and to be perfectly honest, it's not clear. It's just not clear. The idea of co-insurance versus co-pays versus deductibles and out-of-pocket maximums, and I probably just lost 90% of you. I definitely understand a lot of it, but there's a lot of it that because we live here in the US, it just doesn't make sense, and it's never going to. We paid a ridiculous sum of money when Ellis was born. They just kept sending bills and kept sending bills. The reason Christina is asking is when Ellis was born, she had gone over her out-of-pocket maximum because of all the bills that they kept sending to her. Not under my company's plan. It was when she was under her own company's plan, and they just kept sending bills. Like big bills, $1,000 bills every time, asking for more and more money. We did finally get out from under all of it, not a big deal or anything. It was like, when is this going to end? What happens if one of us has to have some sort of a surgery and they just decide to keep sending us bills and bills and bills? Where does it end? And it definitely does bring up the argument about needing some sort of a fix for our healthcare system, but that's not an argument that I'm in a place to really discuss. I don't really want to go political because I just don't care to, but suffice to say that some other countries do have much better healthcare setups, and it would be really nice if something good could happen to ours. There you go. And now, time to have a little bit of lunch. Well, that is ridiculously infuriating. We've talked before, it's been a couple of months, about I opened a new bank account with this other bank because I do Amazon affiliate stuff in other countries, and the bank that I normally go through will not do international deposits. So they won't take checks from the UK or from Germany. And by the way, thanks to some of you guys from the UK and Germany and wherever else that have purchased using my Amazon links. Just gonna go ahead and say it. Those Amazon links will probably be going away. So if you have purchased things using my links in the past and you're in another non-US country, thank you for that, but they just may not work anymore. Because literally every time I go in there to deposit checks that are international, I get hassled. It's like a half hour to 45-minute process to cash one check, which means if I have two, it's thoroughly a long time. And they're usually not that big checks. I mean, I'm not bragging here, so it's every check that I've gotten has been less than $100 per check. And so I went in there today with a check that is less than $100, and after about 15 minutes of standing, oh, it's actually close to 20 minutes of standing there, I was turned away. The teller, who has actually cashed checks for me before, was reading things online for about 10 minutes, finally called somebody to ask the question, can I cash this? Am I allowed to? Because it says here to turn this person away. And they were told to turn me away. The bank that I have been using turned me away. They turned away not a huge amount of money, obviously, but basically just said, we don't want it because the fees are going to be way too high to make it reasonable. And that's like the only bank in town that will actually deal with international deposits. It's just apparently the check has to be over $100 in US value before they'll even do it. So my answer to her was basically, all right then, well then what do I have to do to close my account? Because that is the only reason that I would ever consider banking here. She said, oh, well, you can go ahead and do that, but we're going to charge you because you haven't had this bank account open for 6 months. So what I'm going to do instead is go home, I'm going to empty the bank account, because they do allow that, and then I'm going to come back to them whenever it's time and close it and get the remaining 10 cents out or whatever I've got left. I'm sorry, I'm venting this, I'm frustrated. I was turned away trying to give them money because it's not money in the denomination that they wanted. And so basically it's saying I need to cancel anything international that I do unless I can grow it to such a ridiculous point that the income per month is justifiable for that. Ugh. I'm done. I still have not had lunch yet, so that's part of the reason I'm grumpy. Apologies, guys. I'm actually going to go get some lunch now. Oh, but that makes the day just a little bit brighter. It doesn't look like it, but that's FedEx, which means that the new camera is here. And welcome, I suppose, to the Canon N100. I very quickly went through the unboxing process, and apparently I had a complete dumb with regard to this camera. I just completely, yeah, I don't know. It's not been my day, guys. It's not been my day so far. The entire reason that I purchased this camera, sorry, we're going in the dark here. The entire reason that I purchased this was I thought it was a really cool looking camera. It does pretty decent quality video. It actually has that weird rear facing camera, but I bought it in large part because I thought that the screen flipped up. Well, it does flip up. It just doesn't flip up all the way. That's why we're in the bathroom, because this screen flips up, if you can see that, but it doesn't flip all the way up. So stops at about 90 degrees. Awesome. Now, the very limited little amount of testing I've done with this, I was not able to actually use the battery they included because it says that it's counterfeit. So I might actually be able to reach out to them and see about sending the camera back, returning it entirely, or they may just opt to send me another battery, which realistically, again, the video quality is not that bad. The focusing seems to be hit or miss, but it's smooth and it's quiet, and that's kind of a good thing as compared to my previous cameras. The camera's not all that big, meaning that I can more easily fit it in a pocket to carry it around with me, so there's a higher likelihood that I'll take it into a lot more places, but I don't know. Again, the entire purpose, the entire reason why I even decided on this in the first place was because I thought it had a flip-up screen. Apparently when I watched iJustine's video about it a while back, I didn't pay close enough attention, so when she showed it, she specifically said that it only flipped up part of the way, and I just missed that somehow, so it is entirely my fault. It's, you know, I didn't pay close enough attention. And it is only a $200 camera, so you can't expect absolutely everything. I think a large part of what I do with this is going to end up in how things look at night and how the audio does in louder scenarios. Like outdoors right now, we've got a lot of background noise, but it's not that bad. We're going to have to test it out in various lighting scenarios, bright, dark, various audio scenarios, so like a loud restaurant or a crowded movie theater, or I don't know. I'm gonna do some testing and I'm gonna reach out to Canon and see what I'm supposed to do about the battery, because I do have 2 batteries from my old camera, but I shouldn't have to just throw away a battery because they sent me a counterfeit one. Anyway, back to other stuff. Hopefully the day gets better. Well, it's actually quite a little while later and I have made a mess. It's already 2:20 p.m., which means I've got to get Duncan off the bus in a little over half an hour. But I took the time to go ahead and finish up the video, or at least some portion of the video about the N100 that I'm currently filming on. I'm gonna have to do a couple more sample clips, like I'll do a clip outdoors just on the back deck or out in the sunlight or both. And then I'll do another clip tonight when it's dark and I'm sitting in the living room in the dark. That'll be another good low light test there. And of course I'll direct people who want to watch that video over to this channel so that they can see this video where I'm using the, you know, if you're coming here from that video, welcome. Please stick around, watch what my family does. We do fun stuff sometimes. And sometimes I just talk a lot, which is most of the time. Ask the people that watch regularly. And I think I may have even forgotten to mention it here, but I did actually put in a phone call to Canon support and just said, look, I ordered this refurbished from Canon Direct. Out of the box, the battery says that it's counterfeit. can you help me fix this? And the salesperson who answered the phone directed me to tech support. The tech support person said, oh, well, we'll just have you ship the entire camera back and that'll take care of it. You'll ship it back, we'll send you a new one, a new refurbished one. And I'm like, oh, but I don't really want to do that because the camera does work, even though I would technically kind of like to return it because it doesn't have the one feature I really wanted, which is the flip up all the way up the screen. If I'm gonna have to do anything, I would rather just get a new battery. And so I told him I do have a battery that does work in it, and so what they're gonna do instead is just ship me a brand new battery, which is, it's acceptable. It means at the end of the day I will have at least 2 batteries that do work in this. I do have a third battery that is I guess it's the second battery, but it will be potentially the third. It's a generic, it's a knockoff. It's one that worked perfectly fine in the Vixia Mini X, so I'm gonna test it in here as well. Just because in reality I'm curious to see if it's going to work with third-party batteries or if they've somehow blocked that out entirely, which would kind of stink. But on top of finishing up the video about the N100, I did take the time and filmed a second time my Nest unboxing, my Nest outdoor camera unboxing. I still have to go outside and install it, but I think the installation is going to be significantly easier than I thought it was. Not that it was going to be difficult to begin with, but this is the mount for it, if you can see that. The mount is magnetic, which is great. It means the camera has a big old piece of metal inside of it, and then you just stick it to this magnet, and it holds it. It's a really strong magnet. It's pinching my finger. In terms of actually installing that magnet, there's a wall clip, and just put 2 screws inside of it, and you put the magnet on it, and that's it. But our back doors are metal. Metal, meaning I can technically put the magnet directly on there. I can say, if you wanted to do it this way, you can do this, but I tested it earlier and the camera will actually hold, the mount will hold the whole camera with the wire and everything, just using the door, just putting this straight on the door. So that may be what we do instead. But anyway, I'm just wasting time sitting here talking, so I probably ought to get back to everything. Oh, this does not feel like fall. It's way too warm, it's way too nice. The only reason you know it's fall is because all the trees are changing color and leaves are falling. And hooray, we're all home. Ellis is just, he's so into what Duncan's doing on his tablet. Duncan keeps kind of scooting away and Ellis keeps kind of scooting toward him, really wanting to play. Say sharing, please. There's gonna be a lot of this moving forward. Well, we've all finished our dinner and everything, and apparently she's gonna let him try a sucker for the first time. He was demanding some of her honey, and as a baby not allowed to have honey yet. Hopefully this is in the right place. Uh-oh. Mommy, dangerous. Danger. Delicious.
How was that?
It's very blue. Is it blue? Yeah.
He knows how to do it.
Think about that. Should I have some more? Oh. Danger. That's pretty good. Oh, this little one is giving up for the night. And that one's watching the World Series, the very last game. Ooh, it's actually 1-1. You can't see that, but it's 2-1 now. Woo! I'm gonna go ahead and run him to bed. I will say this thing's very impressive in low light. Because, I mean, it's nice. And I think that's actually where we're gonna wrap things up for today. She's gonna sit here and watch some of the World Series and inevitably fall asleep. It looks like the Cubs are up 4-1, so that's pretty, that's a thing that's happening. Sportsing, woo! You'll have to let me know what you guys think of the Canon N100. I'm still really bummed out that I am so dumb. I did not realize the screen does not flip up, but that's okay. The focusing seems to be doing pretty well. It occasionally will hunt a little bit, but audio is good, low light video is really good. I mean, it's kind of a good all around. It's a little bulky, but it fits in a pocket, so can't complain too much for less than 200 bucks. But anyway, thank you guys as always for watching. You have anything you want to say to them?
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs. Woo! We will see you again tomorrow.